Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and this time I'm going to show you how to solve the side adventure, A Call from the Depths. This is a very long quest, as I'm sure you can tell by the duration of this video, but by the end of it you will have 7 pieces of armor, completing 2 sets and getting a bonus piece. So at this spot on the map, basically at the base of the Great Plateau, you will find a river that has been blocked up, and you need to bomb this wall. Doing so will cause the lake that has formed to drain, and within this lake was sitting a Poe statue, or it's actually called a bargainer statue, or the head of one at least. So you can sort of see it there through the portcullis. So we're going to run up this hill, grab a few fish along the way. They're always good for recipes. You want to go to this statue, and then it will tell you to meet it at the Temple of Time ruins. So it's this peculiar looking head right here, and you're actually going to get a piece of armor that looks very similar to it, luckily. So when you speak to it, it says, "You who hear my voice, come to me in the Temple of Time ruins, up the road on the plateau to the south." So follow its orders, go to the Temple of Time ruins, which if you played Breath of the Wild, you should be familiar with. It's where the game started, and you will see the giant statue of the goddess that you once prayed to maybe a couple years ago during the events of Breath of the Wild. And again, it's here on the map. When you pray to this statue, a voice will start beckoning you from the depths, and the side adventure will start. From here, you need to collect its 4 eyes and bring it to the voice, or the source of the voice, down in the depths. So that is what we're about to do. One thing that I want to tell you before we even get started on this is don't make my mistake. Don't find all of the eyes, throw them into the chasms, and then start bringing them to the statue. If you throw an eye into a chasm and warp away, that eye goes back to the top of the chasm, and you've got to do it all over again. Do this one at a time. Don't attempt to scoop them all up and do it in, one shot. Do them one at a time to save yourself the headache. As soon as the eye gets slotted into the statue, you have credit for it, you can move on. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. The first eye that I'm going to work on is at the Great Plateau South Chasm, and I'll show it to you here on the map in a second. You will notice that there is a block that has fallen out of the sky here, and so you can use the recall function of your hand and send it back into the sky. And then once you do that, you'll notice that the eye that we're looking for was actually underneath this block. So there are several of the eyes in this adventure require some sort of ability or item to get. Nothing crazier than a bomb, so don't worry about it. You should have everything you need. Once you chuck the eye into the chasm, you want to follow, and then the eye may have bounced around a little bit when it landed, but it should be in this general vicinity. And for us, for this first one, this is probably the most harrowing one, and that is because we have to throw this thing off of a ledge. I think the intended method may be to build something with the wings on the second floor, but I can never figure out how to get those to take off while standing still without putting them on some sort of skateboard kind of platform. But if you know, please leave a comment and let me know, because I'm just really bad with the wings. I wish I knew how to use those better. Anyway, be sure to pick up the Poes here. You're going to need a lot of them to buy all the armor, so don't ever skip them. Always get them. They're always worth it. So once you have the eye secure, you want to bring it up to the second floor of this little section here. Truth be told, you could very likely just throw it off the first floor, but because I had just wasted so much time finding the eyes and then having to do it all again, I was just trying to be cautious here. So deal with these keys as best you can. Pick up the eye again, and then we're just going to throw it off the corner of this ledge here, and then we're going to follow it down. And it may seem like, oh my god, do we really have to carry this thing the whole way? No, we are luckily throwing it right in front of minecart tracks, so we're going to build a minecart to bring this the rest of the way. And you're going to get very familiar with this minecart platform in particular, because we're going to use it a bunch of times. Okay, so pick up the eye again. Again, you could probably ultra hand this and just put it up onto the ledge, but I was still so used to playing Breath of the Wild at this stage of the game that I was still carrying everything and forgetting. I've only just recently taught myself to ascend everywhere, so we're getting there. Bring the eye up the stairs, and then we're going to build a propeller on the minecart that is on the track. So there's plenty of materials around here. Don't use the rockets here. They won't get you all the way. They're tempting, they're fun, but they won't do the job. Get a propeller, rotate it so it is facing the correct direction. You want the fins to be facing outward, and then you want to attach the eye to the minecart. You don't want to just drop it in there because it is a bit of a bumpy ride and it can bounce out. You don't want to do that accidentally. So you want to just ride this minecart the whole way. It's one track. It goes to one place, so I'll make a cut here. And then we will end up in the Great Abandoned Central Mine. And this is where we want to go with each eye. So once you reach this place, you want to take the eye out of the minecart and put it on an elevator. There are several elevators in this area, and you want to put it on an elevator that goes all the way up to the second floor. So make sure, again, you attach it to the elevator because you don't want it to bounce around and fall off and waste any time. So you want to ride this elevator up. You'll notice that it's going slower. That's because there's more weight on it. It's just the way it goes. But even with just one battery, you should be totally fine. You should not need to worry about having enough energy to do this. Once you're at the top floor, you want to then bring the eye to the bargainer statue right here, and you will need to rotate the eye and slot it in. It does not matter which slot you put it in. It all works the same. No big deal. I did notice that these eyes look like ocarinas. Nintendo did not get that past me, but maybe that was just a coincidence, but I kind of doubt it. Okay, so that's the first eye, and it's time to work on the second one. For the second one, we are going to go to near the top of Mount Hylia, and we are going to place a fire near this icicle. Now, you could melt it using any means. However, I did not have any fire fruit on me. At least I didn't think I did. And I didn't have a torch or anything. So, Old Faithful, light a fire. It'll melt whatever's around it. May take a couple seconds, but the eye is inside of this icicle. And I'm going to make a cut here because it's going to become very apparent that I chucked this down the chasm and then went looking for other stuff. So, make sure you follow it. Cannot stress that enough. Even though you get quest credit, it will reset if you go away. All right, so throw it down the chasm and then follow it. And then we're actually going to end up at a different set of tracks. However, it connects to the one that we need. So it's all in the family here, all in this region. All of the tracks lead to the same place, more or less. Okay, so this one is much easier. You don't really have to worry about throwing it anywhere. You could just bring it up a series of elevators into a minecart. I will warn you, there are a fair amount of enemies that spawn in this area, especially Stall Children. I think every single time I visited this one section, Stall Children bothered me. So just be aware of that. You don't have a lot of hearts at this stage of the game if you're doing it as early as I did. So just play it safe. You don't want to have to redo any of this, especially when you get an eye halfway where it needs to go. So this track on the left, this is the one that you want to use. Unfortunately, I got attacked by Stall Children, and I sent this battery-powered minecart off too early. I accidentally hit it, so oh well. You can build another one, no big deal. There are plenty of minecarts and plenty of propellers around here. You don't have to worry about the battery. You don't need it. It'll get you where you need to go, even with the eye. So just build yourself a cart here. There are propellers and such on the shelves. Again, ignore the rockets. They look fun. They are fun, but they won't get you all the way. Even if it's only Link in the minecart, they won't get you all the way. That thing up top on that top shelf is actually a flashlight. You never really need it, but they're kind of fun to put on the front of minecarts. Reminds me of Donkey Kong Country. But in any event, you want to affix the propeller properly to the minecart, and then we are going to ride this to the station that we were at before, where we threw the first one. And then we're going to do the same exact thing. So I'm just going to let the footage play out so you can see the exact route. But check the timestamps for the start of the third eye, and we'll take it from there. For the third eye, we're going to go to the Great Plateau North Chasm, which is in the northwest section of the Great Plateau. And you can find the eye in this little pond of water that is formed. You can take this eye and just dump it right down the chasm nearby and then follow it. I will tell you right now, the footage that I recorded while doing this is really bad because I did not know how to build vehicles this early in the game. I was doing this quite early. As you can tell, I only have 4 hearts and 1 stamina wheel. So I am going to just cut in new footage and record it again, showing you how to build a proper vehicle and how to quickly drive to where you need to go. It is nearby, but it's nearby via vehicle. If walking, it just takes a while. So let's do that now. All right, once you've landed, you want to start building a car. So you want to take this slab and then rotate it in such a fashion that it is straight. And you want to take these 4 tires. Now, if you have never built a car before in this game, and you've never used these wheels are very cool. They just attach, they automatically form axles to whatever they are attaching to. Just make sure that you are attaching them on the corners. These wheels have arrows on them, and the arrow corresponds with the direction that they will spin when you activate them. So this arrow is currently facing the wrong way, so we need to rotate it so it's facing the correct way. Nope, that is not attached properly. There we go. Always make sure the arrows are facing the correct way. I really wish they would let you drop off of small ledges. That would be very helpful. Okay, and this is the 4th tire, and then there is a steering wheel. What? There is a steering wheel available right here. And optionally, you can put a light on it, but we don't need that because I've lit so many light routes through this place. Okay, go ahead and plop that down in the center. And then remember, attach your eye to this car. I'm doing this in the future, so I don't have the eye anymore. But what we need to do is we need to get to the Great Abandoned Central Mine. You can see here on the map, it is not far at all. So we're literally just going to make a left turn around this light route and then go straight in. I have a lot more battery than you probably do. Don't worry, you can do all this in 1 battery charge, no problem. You may need to reset at some point just because the eye will weigh it down, whereas right now I have no weight, I'm just linked. There's no eye on my car. Okay, so we're just going to steer through here. I'll give you a quick brief on pose. So we have red pose in front of us. Those are those red orbs. Those are worth 20 pose. The green one that you see flittering on that tree up there, that's worth 5. And then the blue ones on the ground, those are worth 1. So it's kind of like rupees, but blue and green are flipped. Okay, so this is the Great Abandoned Central Mine. This is the central room. This is where you also get the auto build ability. So if you don't have that already, I have a guide for it, but you just speak with this construct right here, so you could do it while you're doing all of this. I will warn you, though, it does trigger a boss fight when you speak with this construct, so don't do it while transporting the eye. Just come back for it. You could skip the boss fight. You could just leave it alone and not worry about it, but yeah, it is a thing. Okay, so once you are on this level here, what we're going to do is you can either drop the eye right here, which I kind of recommend doing. It's a little bit quicker. And then you can just go down this staircase, and here is the bargainer statue. And at this point, I will bring back the regular footage. For the 4th and final eye, we're going to go to the Great Plateau East Chasm, and here you will find a bombable wall. So take out a bomb flower, chuck it at the rubble, and you will find the eye inside somewhat hidden. And of course, I'm going to make a cut because I didn't follow it the first time. Pick up the eye, chuck it in the chasm, or just trip and it goes down with you. Either works. You want to follow it down, and then there are minecart tracks that are a little hard to see. However, they are to your left when you land. And we can do the same thing we always do, just build a minecart with a propeller, and the tracks will take you actually directly where you need to go this time. There's no other platform you got to do with the eye. Just once the minecart lands, you just walk forward and you're basically at the statue. One thing that I did want to mention while we're building this is that these chasm locations are in the same exact location as the original 4 shrines from Breath of the Wild, the 4 tutorial shrines of the Great Plateau. They're in the same place. So I have to take a look at the Tears of the Kingdom map once I finish it and see if that is the case for all of the chasms. It wouldn't exactly surprise me, but then I also got to look at why those spots in particular, why those shrines, what was the deal with those shrines? Maybe there's a bigger lore reason, who knows? Probably not, but I thought it was a nice touch that these 4 chasms in the Great Plateau were in the same place. All right, so once you have the minecart built, go ahead and glue the eye in there using the attach function, hop in, and strap in for a bit of a wild ride. This track is broken, so we're basically going to fly off the track and land on another one, which is quite nice. If you have activated the boss fight when getting the auto build function, but then you warped away, the boss will still be active, so be very careful where you step. You do not want to accidentally re-trigger that boss fight, so make sure you just go straight into the bargainer statue. Don't visit the construct. You don't want to make any mistakes. Not at this stage. All right, once you finish your fun little Donkey Kong Country minecart ride, you want to take the 4th and final eye out of the minecart and bring it into the room with the bargainer statue. Now, that is it for the side adventure, Call from the Depths. However, that is not the end of these bargainer statues. There are a total of 7 bargainer statues in the game. This is the first one. There is another one in Lookout Landing, which is really just the head, but it counts. Each time you find a bargainer statue, and I'll show you where all of them are, each time you find one, a new piece of armor is going to become available to you. These bargainer statues sell both the Dark set, which is the Dark Link set, as well as the Depths set. The Dark Link set in this game gives you faster running speed at night, and the Depths armor protects you against gloom for a maximum of 3 hearts that recharge when you run through gloom. So it's excellent for plumbing the depths. Wearing the Depths armor is really, really helpful. In addition, for opening up these vendors, you get either a heart container or a chunk of stamina, whichever you choose. It's up to you. The first piece of armor that becomes available from this bargainer statue, and you need to talk to it again to bring up that menu, otherwise the quest just completes and you think you're done. I was actually a little disappointed my first time going through, and then once I spoke to him and saw that the dark armor was available, I was very happy. So the first statue will give you the dark tunic, the second one will give you the tunic of the depths, the third one gives you the dark trousers, the fourth one gives you the gaiters of the depths, which is the boots, the fifth one gives you the dark hood, the sixth one gives you the hood of the depths, and then the seventh one gives you the tunic of memories, which is Link's armor from Breath of the Wild, his cover art armor. So you can get all 7 pieces. They all cost Poes, so you need to collect a lot of Poes. Now, the other thing about these statues is that in addition to selling these unique pieces of armor, they will also sell you any treasure, any unique treasure that you have picked up in the depths. And this includes other pieces of armor that are locked away in chests in the depths. So if you ever lose something or you upgrade it, you want to reset it or what have you, you can return to any of the bargainer statues and they all share the same inventory. The inventory only increases when you find a new one, but you don't have to buy specific pieces at specific statues. Additionally, you can spend Poes to have the bargainer statue in Lookout Landing show you the location of his brethren or the other statues. The first time you do this, it costs 10 Poes. Every time after that, however, it is 100 Poes. So to save you from having to spend 510 Poes, or 410 Poes, I'm just going to show you where they all are. So I'm going to bring up my map of the depths. I have a lot of it uncovered, so if you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to stop watching. Just be sure to subscribe. but right now I'm going to show it to you, so consider yourself warned. Okay, so this is the depths as I have it right now. There are a total of 6 bargainer statues down here in the depths. Many of them are tough to reach. They require a lot of climbing and dropping in at specific points to help you out. Specific chasms throughout the world to help you out. Now, I'm going to go in a clockwise order starting in the top right corner, and we're going to count all 6. So we have this one up here, this bargainer statue. The closest chasm to this one is this chasm right here, the East Akala Plains chasm. So you can drop in right around here, and then you could just walk northwest. A big tip for moving around the depths is walk along tree roots. These tend to stay elevated as you move around, and so these will keep you on the high ground, and the vast majority of light roots that you need to light are on high ground. So try to stay elevated whenever possible. So it is near the Wellspring of Power right here, this bargainer statue. Okay, next up, we have one in the southeast, this bargainer statue right here, near the Wellspring of Wisdom. This one is near the Nadra Snowfield Chasm, which is over here, not terribly far from the Mount Lineru Skyview Tower. So you can drop in there. Something else that I wanted to mention is this is a really good illustration of how this map works when it comes to elevation. The lighter the color, the higher the elevation. So this is like just, off-white gray. That means that these roots here are pretty high up. However, when we start getting into deep blues and just, void black, that indicates that it's very far down. So this statue, this bargainer statue in particular, you will need to climb up the statue. And don't forget to use ascend. You can ascend through huge chunks of the statue to save you time. And you can only speak to the statue face to face. So keep that in mind. All right, the next one we have is over here. This is near the Wellspring of Courage. I'm sure you're sensing a theme here. And the nearest drop point is over here. This is the Hills of Bomber Chasm, which if we look is in the West Necluda Lake Hylia section of the map, so feel free to drop in there. It is a bit of a walk, but, don't worry about it. It's not too bad. And this is another statue that you're very likely going to have to climb. It's near some water, so it's a bit of a pain to get around. But again, you only have to visit these once to activate their new inventory, and then the inventory is shared throughout the network of statues. Next up, we have this one up here. This is basically smack center of the map. This is the Plains Bargainer statue. And the nearest drop point is probably up here. And this is the Hyrule Field Chasm. So not far at all from Lookout Landing. You can drop in there and then just adventure southeast or east-southeast to the Bargainer statue. And this one's pretty small. You just walk right up to its face. Next up, we have the one that we're standing in front of. This is the one that we brought the eyes to at the Great Abandoned Central Mines. We've already spoken about that at length. And this one you can actually kind of teleport directly to, as long as you activated the construct to get auto build. Okay, there is no Bargainer statue in the southwest, so you don't have to worry about that. And so our final one is sort of in the northwest. And this is the last one that I found. This one is incredibly elevated. It's no joke as high as the depths can go. It's like at the start of the ceiling of the depths. It's a bit of a pain to get to. There is a drop point up here. I don't have Eldon discovered. However, this drop point is within this labyrinth, and I have not yet figured out how to open this drop point. So I don't know how to get it. I did have to just walk here. It took a while, but you get a lot of stuff along the way, so it's kind of worth it. But that's the location of all 6. So you have this one that's heavily elevated. That's number 1. You have number 2 over here, number 3 here, number 4 here, number 5 here, and then number 6 here in the Great Abandoned Central Mine. And then, of course, you have another one here at Lookout Landing. And that's it. That is everything on Pose, at least as I know so far. 7 statues, 7 pieces of armor, 1 very long side adventure. but it gives you some really good stuff. I'm not even going to show you what it looks like. I just want you to figure it out or find it out for yourself. But hopefully this has all helped. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video, or you can leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord. The links for those are in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.